Maura Kolb. I'm president of Dryden Gold. We're exploring for high-grade gold in northwestern Ontario.
Good to see you here, Beaver Creek. You enjoying yourself?
Absolutely.
So lots of meetings and lots of bumping into people along the streets. That's how busy it is.
It's been a nice year because we aren't raising money this year, so we've actually just gotten to catch up with people, tell people what's going on with the project. It's a good place to be.
The pressure's off.
And the share price is up, so that's nice.
It's up a lot. Like, let's talk about, you've raised a couple of times actually since we last saw you. What were you doing with the first tranche of money? What happened?
Okay, so last year's exploration budget was about $5.8 million. That included Centerra Gold, gave us a private strategic investment. So that's a really big deal for us. We had been talking to lots of major and mid-tier companies. We really needed that check of approval, you know? Like, hey, these guys mean business. I've been saying we're doing systematic exploration, but they see it, and so they're investing in it. And in the most recent financing we just did for $7.8 million, they topped up. So they've kept their position at 9.9%.
Okay, so proper validation. Look, I think the attractive thing about your project is those super high grades that you keep banging out, but you kind of got to make this hang together. So I know you've been getting after it with regards to a lot of the groundwork, but also the job work, but you're going to need a team for that. Have you been building that side of things up?
Yes, so even since we spoke, we actually have our own core shack set up now. We've got 10 employees. We have the same consistency, which is fantastic. I mean, it's nice to start off that small, and we've been able to grow, but still keep the price down. I mean, I have to brag about this. I think I might have the lowest all-in drill cost of anyone I talk to here. We're at $200 Canadian all-in for our drill cost.
You're kidding.
It's great, and we have a local team.
Do you own your own drills or something? What's going on?
No, we have a great drilling company, really efficient, from Winnipeg, which is nearby Dryden, and then we have a local staff. So we've been able to create an environment where people want to come join the team and move to Dryden. So it's really cool. Yeah,
that kind of step up and change, fantastic. I want to talk to you in a minute about precisely what you've been doing and where you've been drilling, etc. But you need a kind of end game in mind here, right? Because it's a really positive gold environment for everyone. Everyone's getting super excited, and they've got business plans which are changing and evolving all the time. For you, you've always been about systematic approach to doing what you're doing. Is that paying off?
I think so. I mean, since we last talked, Gold Rock, which is our kind of flagship area, our main target, it's grown incredibly. We used to have 3 structures that we were targeting, and all the nerdy geology work that we've been doing has really helped to grow that. So we've been able to find more high-grade zones. We have stacked structures, so it's just gotten so much bigger in the same footprint. So that's a really big deal. We were talking today with people about how we could mine this, because we can actually see that future and that validation. And then for us, we have a 2-staged approach. So we're looking at that Gold Rock area. That's kind of the flagship. It has the most data. But we have 70,000 hectares, and it's a whole district play. So all the while we're working on Gold Rock, we're also bringing early stage exploration stories and projects and ideas forward. And that's really important. That's what Centerra wants to see. The other major companies that we've been talking to, they want to see us make a discovery. So we're doing both, and the end game is M&A. So we're shopping for our future future buyout, really, with these.
So when you say that Centerra is looking for that, I mean, are they? I know they've got the equity involvement, but how involved are they in terms of the data, the input? Are they kind of backseat or front seat?
They're like a nice in between. So we've had them out to site this summer. We have to do a site tour, and we do regular check-ins whenever we have something exciting we want to go over. But it's they kind of let me and my team do our thing, and we check in and kind of give them regular updates. And they certainly like the district. I mean, they also invested in Kenorland, and they have the trend that continues to the south in the moose pasture that's seen no work, really. Whereas we have lots of high-grade gold that we know is there. Okay.
Well, look, we're going to use the power of magic/AI and look at some slides now.
Perfect.
And if you could talk us through that. So because what I'm interested in is, return on invested capital, right? So the market will reward certain behavior and certain things. So maybe if we run through these slides now, we'll get a sense of where you think that should be.
Now, from the couch to the computer screen, I wanted to take you through where we've been from the starting thesis for this deposit to where we've gotten to with all of the new data we've collected. So
There's 3 images here. I'll walk you through what they mean and why I'm showing you. But first, our initial hypothesis here was that there were 2 different deformation events that were trapping the highest grade gold mineralization. So in the first image, you see deformation event 1. It's basically east-west. It's kind of a halo of alteration, and it was the prep work for the gold. On the middle slide, you see these red lines, and those are the mineralized structures that are related to the second deformation event. They go from the northeast corner to the southwest corner of the property. That's the Manitou Denoric Deformation Zone. That's the one you got to be close to have high-grade gold. That's been our thought process from the start. Now, where we get the highest grade gold on those red structures seemed to be where those 2 intersected. And that was our first hypothesis, the first thing we tested through our drill programs from 2023 and 2024. Now, as we collected data from those and we did mapping last summer, we started to identify a more north-south structure. And on the third slide here, you see that third deformation event. Why is this so important? Well, it gives us even more targets, and I've simplified this down quite a bit, and I show you 3 of those. There's actually about 8 that cross this 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer area that we call the Gold Rock target area. It's really what we've been drill testing and trying to grow. As we've been testing this, we've seen the high-grade zones are where these 3 intersect. We also started to see our predecessor hadn't done complete sampling, so they only were focused on quartz veins. Now, all of the dashed lines you see are zones that we've been able to discover and trace through re-looking at historic data and drilling our own holes. So now we're really starting to fill in this map with more and more zones and more high-grade zones. And that's come a long way from, 3 potential targets to dozens now of all these intersections where there can be really high grade. And so that's why it's so exciting where we've started and where we've come to. So let's take a look at the newest drill results that we put out and what that shows about this overall story I was explaining. So again, we're in the Gold Rock target area. We're looking at that last slide from previous. That's the map there. We drilled a hole going from the Big Master system, which is on the east, all the way across to the Elora Gold system on the west. So it's one of our longest holes, about 650 meters long. Now, that was at the south end of the property here, where we went from basically Spyglass to Jubilee. And the reason for this, which you see in the cross section next to it, was we wanted to try to test as many targets as possible. And in between the 2 zones, the Big Master and the Elora, there has never been a drill hole there. Basically, this whole area through there, no outcrops and really no drill holes before. So we wanted to be able to test Big Master and Elora, but also get that in between, a little bit wildcat target there. So I'm really excited that we were able to see a lot of alteration, shearing, and we've got some low-grade mineralization in that area between. But in addition to that, we saw all of these stacked structures that we were hoping to find between the Big Master and Elora. So it's really starting to fill in this area, and it makes it much more favorable for, an open pit scenario for mining this. When I started looking at this originally, I thought, okay, this has to be an underground target. We have to be really, really good at predicting high grade. But if we have this many zones in this small footprint, it really starts to open up the potential and the ways we can mine this in the future. Now, I don't want to stop there. I want to talk about this pattern and how we see it on a bigger scale. And that relates to what we've been drill testing most recently. So at the mine scale, we're looking again here at the Gold Rock target area, but now I've kind of turned the map so that it just shows a little better this way. So north is kind of going off to the corner. We still have 9 drill holes testing this. And what is really exciting about this is that the Elora Gold system seems to have many of these high-grade zones across it. When we started to drill Pearl, which was our intersection target originally, we noticed that there were more than 1 high-grade zones there. So from this work, we have 9 holes outstanding. They'll all come back here in this fall, and we're really starting to test how big this structure could be. I'm pretty keen as well with what you see here. These gray lines that you see on the map, that's the historic workings. We had real trouble at first trying to place those in true 3D space because we didn't have the exact coordinates of the shaft and the vent raise. So we did a LiDAR survey this past fall that gave us the data points. Now we were able to actually put these historic maps into the right place. And what we noticed was that the Laurentian mine, highest grade mine in the region, 14 grams average grade, actually mined one of these new hanging wall structures that we found through reworking the data and new drilling. So it really opens up the mineability and the exciting targets that we have between the Elora and the Big Master system. So again, just growing our targets, more ounces in this small footprint. Now, I mentioned we'll get to the bigger scale. If you remember, we had done some work last summer and the summer before looking at gold rock regionally. So we did work with the geophysics. So we have geophysics coverage across the entire property. We had an anomaly here over top of gold rock. That's what these blue circles are. Showed up really nicely, kind of comes from the alteration, the mineralization in the area. We had two other anomalies on strike of the Manitou-Genoric Deformation Zone. One to the north here at what we call Mud Lake, another one that's untested. Last summer we did detailed mapping on the Mud Lake target, got some nice results, some 24 grams, 9 grams, 6, so really starting to show there was something there. We've just finished our first drill test there. We did 4 holes, starting to see similar mineralization to gold rock. So who cares, right? Well, it's all about this periodicity. It's about this pattern. We're seeing a pattern at the mine scale, and we're starting to predict where high-grade zones are. This is an even bigger step out. So this is a pattern of the potential deposits. And that's really exciting because we have one that's untested. I've got a mapper camped out there right now, working on that to see if there's favorable rocks there. But I love this footprint because it's 8-kilometer strike. And you guys know my background. I spent a lot of time in Red Lake. I'm way too familiar with that mine and deposit. That also sits on about an 8-kilometer strike. And you have the Red Lake mine, the Campbell mine, and the Kosher mine. That's 28 million ounces in that footprint. So it can be really significant when you have this repeating pattern. And that's why I'm so excited about this periodicity and testing this along strike at Gold Rock. And as we get back to the couch, the other thing I want to mention is that we have been testing our regional exploration targets, Hinman and Sheridan, and we should have results from that soon. Remember, we have multiple catalysts, growing Gold Rock, looking at this Mud Lake target, and these regional targets. So this really is at Dryden a district play.
Thanks for running through that with the power of magic. I guess to kind of finish off, what I'm interested in is where you go from now, because obviously access to money seems better for you guys now, and at the same time it's a super exciting market out there. I suspect you've got big ideas and big plans about what you want to do. Can you give us a sense of what that might be?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned earlier that we had raised the $7.8 million. Well, we're just finishing up. We've got about 2,000 meters left of drilling from last year's raise.
Right.
We haven't even touched any of this new raise. That'll happen in about November. And we've got 20 to 25,000 meters of drilling. Wow. Catalysts are coming, so keep watching the news because we've been working on regional exploration targets, and we'll be able to say, hey, these either meet the cut and we're going to continue to grow them or not. And we've done a property-wide soil sampling program to really look for a brand new discovery. And we're doing some other nerdy stuff in the background that I'll be excited to show with that. But I mean, we've got a lot of drilling yet to come out from the program that we did, the 15,000 meters. We've only released about a third of that. So there's a lot more news and a lot of high-grade targets we've been after.
Fantastic. A lot more drilling.
A lot more drilling.
All the money you need. And a plan.
And a plan. And we're always evolving our plan.
Yeah.
You know how I like to do things in small phases, make sure that it's meeting my expectation, and then adjust it. So we're doing that. We have models going right now, and geologic models, so that we can keep targeting better and better. We're working with structural experts. We brought on Ben Fryman from the Colorado School of Mines. And all of that just is really beefing up our team and our understanding so we can be successful. So I think the catalysts this fall are really these regional exploration targets and, proving we have a district play. And then, we have $11.5 million of warrants at 30 cents that are now in the money this week. So, that could also begin funding us even more. So I think we've got a pretty bright future right now.
Fantastic. And regards to Trey.
I will give that to him.